Today, let's figure out Nvidia's fear of China, how Samsung just gave us a hint on Apple's next device, and we have a release schedule for the RTX 50 Super. Let's get into the best tech news on the internet. Nvidia CEO just admitted something no US politician wants to hear. China's not behind the AI race. They're right in America's heel. In a BG2 podcast, he said banning chip export doesn't slow China down, it just sidelines US influence. Nvidia's once 95% market share on China's AI chips is also sidelined. Because the Chinese market just basically realized, hey, we can build these ourselves. In fact, Huawei is rolling out its Atlas 900A3 supercomputers according to its roadmap, which are basically Nvidia killer. Beating Nvidia's system runs A100s in efficiency and performance for training large language models. Yeah, the Chinese supercomputers was using more chips than Nvidia's system, and China was basically making the rules for that test, but would you make yourself look bad in front of the world? No. In China's case, a win's a win. So, is China catching up? Absolutely. Are they nanoseconds away from overtaking Nvidia? Not yet, but I give it a few years. And the US might need more than export bans to stay away. But what do you think of the situation? And I promise you have something to say about how the US is bullying Taiwan. What leaks Samsung just gave us about Apple on the RTX 50 Super. But first, the US is slapping tariffs on chips. Not those almost gave Lays a heart attack, but companies like Nvidia, you might want to start making Trump treaties. Because the Trump administration is considering tariffs on the number of foreign chips in devices shipped to the US. Early proposals suggest 25% tariffs on general imports with 15% if you're Japan or the EU. However, a possible exemption could apply if companies move half their production to the US, which leads us to Taiwan, which has been told its security guarantees in case of a Chinese invasion are tied to it moving half its production to Uncle Sam. Even though Taiwan has pledged and spent billions in the US, it still manufactures its advanced chips from home. Moving even half to the US will prove difficult, because unions make pesky demands like living wages and bathroom breaks. And these tariffs could make American-made devices get pricier, thanks to imported components sneaking into the bill. So the big question is, are these the growing pains of moving tech back home? And what if Taiwan moves half its production to the US and it just abandons them because it just got what they want from them? Let me know what you guys think. Here's a funny one. The Department of Energy staff has been banned from using terms like climate change, green, decarbonization. Sir, I have a report on how we can fix climate change. Oh, I have a report on why the world's AC is acting up. Is Google about to kill sideloading? Google plans to require all Android app developers, whether on Play Store or a third-party platform, to register and verify their identity. This expands the 2023 Play Store policy to all app distribution channels. F-Droid says the new Android rule is basically BS, because malware apps still slip through the Play Store anyway, and say their platform's open source vetting is way more transparent. I never thought this was a PP measuring contest, but the rollout starts in September 2026 with Brazil, Indonesia, Singapore, and Thailand, before going global in 2027 and beyond. So, the question here is Google protecting users or just protecting its power? Microsoft wishes to spread divides. A new Office agent and Copilot chat powered by Anthropic's AI models can create PowerPoint decks and Word docs interactively, and you can almost hear their content and data analysts shout with joy. Agent mode and Office agents are live today for Microsoft 365 Copilot Frontier users and personal family subscribers initially on the web, with desktop support coming soon. Moving on, Meta is basically a lost teen moving from failed passion to the next. Metaverse failed. AR glasses, embarrassing failure. Now, it wants to try humanoid robots. Well, take a guess how well that one will go. It's also rolling out a subscription for Facebook and Instagram in the US, but it'll only be for users over 18 to offer an ad-free experience. And it's different for the EU. But let's get into the Apple news. We have a few devices nearing production. First up, the M5 MacBook Pro and Air. According to Mark Gurman, despite nearing production this year, a late 2025 launch seems unlikely. But don't rule it out, it's more likely that it will launch early next year. It'll use TSMC 3nm process, which is similar to the A19 series. The Air will also have Apple's in-house Wi-Fi chips. Also, Apple is working on 2 new external displays, which will be Apple's first displays since their stupidly expensive studio displays launched back in 2022. But it's unclear whether these 2 new displays will be dumber successors to their studio display or just new variant. Analyst Ross Young suggests that one could be a 27-inch mini LED display offering better brightness and contrast, and is expected to release in late 2025 or early 2026, depending on final production decisions. Or you could just wait for LG's ultra-fine 6K display, which is way cheaper than a studio display, and pre-orders start on the 10th of October for a 31.5-inch monitor. LG's naming department, couldn't you pick a better name? Finally, Samsung's display president revealed the company is preparing to mass-produce foldable OLED screens for a North American client. Really? They're set to begin production in Q3 2026. This aligns with Apple's typical iPhone release schedule, which probably means we could see an iPhone foldable in September next year. Moving on to Apple's kryptonite, AI. And the House of Tim is testing a ChatGPT-style chatbot called Veritas to develop and refine the next generation of Siri. So it gave it to be tested by unbiased and reputable individuals, aka its employee, which basically have to work and babysit an AI at the same time. But let's just hope they make Siri better. If you haven't heard, EA was just bought by Saudis and Donald Trump's son-in-law. For $55 billion, shareholders are smiling at that 25% premium per share. But wait, I just thought they released Battlecry 6 and everything's going good, so why go private? Well, you answer don't thinking that. Analysts argue that $55 billion was severely undervaluing those scumbags. But money's money. And that's it for today's tech news. I love you, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.